Recording in progress.
That's what yours said?
Yeah.
Mine says, this meeting is being recorded.
Oh, that mine lets me know exactly what I just did. I'm gonna try to move this a little bit. Are we good?
Yeah.
All right.
Good cutting enhances the quality of good meat. In his way, the meat cutter is an artist. Poor cutting results in an inferior piece of meat, regardless of quality.
How's it going, David?
Oh, it's good, man. It's it started off this week. It started off with a bang. I just got back from a week long on-site visit with a client that makes charcuterie and all kinds of value-added stuff. And yeah, we're implementing an ERP tool and live inventory management on the floor and like all this stuff, all this foundational building, and it's a lot of fun. But
Nice.
it's a lot of it. My brain is full. Yeah. So luckily this week, now that I'm home, I've got miles of fence to build for the sheep, which
hmm
is brainless, mindless, but very physical work. So it'll be a nice balance. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. We had well, relatively speaking, uh, I guess, um, Mother's Day. Melissa cried because Harrison threw a fit in public, and it's like the worst. Like he doesn't do stuff like that. Now
Yeah.
I guess he does.
Well, I mean, they go through phases, right? I mean, he's always been like super agreeable and very chill, like just wants to play and hang out. I mean, he's got to go through that sometime, right?
Yeah. It's just why that day? I
Oh,
I
yeah.
I I did the like cliche Midwest dad, the like, look what you made your mother. She's crying. Look at your mother. I hope you feel happy you made your mother cry on Mother's Day.
I mean, there's got to be some sort of like poetic irony there, like she'll look back and laugh. So,
Yeah. And then the following or then I guess the following weekend, Melissa's bought an ATV and I was like, oh sweet. And then I wanted to test it out, so I took it on the beach side and then opened it up.
a natural, like immediate progression for testing something out.
Yeah. And then and I hit some sand or some gravel and came back and then Melissa's cousin who was there was like, we haven't seen Travis in a while.
Oh,
Uh and everyone's like, he's fine, I'm sure. And then I ended up being walked back while pushing the ATV by a couple of neighbors, and Melissa's cousin Kyle was like, "What happened?" And I had no idea. Uh,
oh wow.
I was in 100% shock.
Yeah.
Uh, I had what was later determined to be a concussion. Um, it the ATV's fine. All
As they
right,
tend.
but it's not scratched or like because Kyle's like usually when these things like get into accidents, like all the fiberglass rips off and everything, which leads me to believe that when it rolled over, all the weight was on you.
Oh,
Uh, and then like I guess later that day, I called Kyle, Melissa's cousin's name, or that's his name. I just say it for storytelling purposes. I guess after he left, I called him like an hour later asking him what happened, like straight up, just like not knowing.
yeah.
And then he told me, and then about 15 minutes after that, I called him again, and and I don't remember a lot of the day before, uh, I have bits and pieces of the day. I had no recollection of the accident until about 2 days later when I was going to
Yeah.
bed. And I remember the sheer terror and fear of being pinned underneath the ATV
Yeah.
and like cooing for help. Like just like "Mm, ugh," and the fear of like, holy fuck, this is how you're going to die, because I couldn't breathe. And
I'm glad you didn't die.
yeah, I like I'm still like shook up over it. I wouldn't be surprised if I end up with some like fucking long lasting mental effects because of the accident, just from like the shock from it. Not like my brain's all fucked up, but it probably is, but whatever.
You know, maybe since these seem to be naturally occurring things that happen,
Hmm.
maybe I should write like a short. I mean, I don't have any shit here. I don't have any cool shit. If it, I'm just gonna like leave that to my brother or something. But if I die, we should like write some sort of agreement that you're gonna do something really cool at my funeral.
Yeah.
Do
I'll,
something cool.
I'll, I'll crash an ATV into your coffin.
Yeah, like you show up to the funeral with like a bottle of Tanqueray, a shotgun on an ATV.
Well, it'd be a bottle of Tito's, but
Yeah,
I got to be on brand.
show them the time of their freaking life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, so Melissa, my wishes are when I pass away to have my body pushed into the sound, not my ashes, just my body.
But
With
like, are they gonna like tie a couple rocks to it so that like maybe they can take you out for a ways and then drop you?
I don't know. I wasn't also like, I don't know if authorities would be notified or if there would be a service, or like I'd just be dragged out and and pushed into the sound.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you want me to file a missing persons report and then we bury you in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But if you express consent beforehand, now granted you did just have a concussion, so they're not going to really consider this to be a valid conversation. But let's
That's
revisit
true.
a couple months.
All right.
Come up with that. I don't think it. I think if I just keeled over, I don't think anybody would notice. I think like people would be like, oh, he's doing that thing where he doesn't return texts for 4 weeks again.
Yeah.
And my cat would. She wouldn't be able to eat my bones, but she'd eat everything else.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I don't think anybody would know.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that like I was missing for like probably like 7 minutes till people like wanted to find me. So
Yeah,
Kyle's just like, yeah, I just couldn't hear the hum of the ATV anymore. So I just figured something was wrong.
yeah. They probably thought the ATV broke down
Yeah.
because even when they're brand new.
Yeah. But the thing's fine, fired right back up. And just like anything, you just got to get back up and be terrified when you get on that horse again.
Yeah, I mean it had a really nice soft landing, so I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof. And
Like
now
you're,
the ATV has a nice cover on it to protect it.
it sounds like you need a nice cover on you.
I know. I was wearing a helmet though, because you got to be safe, you know. Yeah.
Good. That's really good. I'm super glad to hear that. It's a
I
good example for Harrison. Dude, had you not been, wow, that's a whole twist. Had you not been wearing the helmet,
Oh, if I
right?
was, I would be dead or a vegetable. Like the helmet, you could tell took a large portion of the impact.
Wow.
So
All right. Well, everybody that's listening, come up with a short list of people that you're gonna either say, you appreciate them, or that you don't appreciate them, and you would be remiss if you died without telling them that.
yeah. What is it like? I want to tell my kids that my last words will be avenge my death. when I die of natural causes.
Yeah. Plant the seed like with your dying breath, like plant the seed that you've been poisoned by an enemy or something.
or or just like, before I go, you got to find find find
Yes. Yep.
find the what?
That's really good stuff. Maybe even like put something in your mouth, like a ring or like a little scroll or something that has something on it. And then as you like lose control of all of your body parts because you died, you like spit this scroll out that has like a clue.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be something?
that would be good. Except for I have recurring dreams that I'll probably just drown in the sound in like the next 10 years.
Don't do that.
I know.
Please don't do that.
But I've had dreams of waves and everything destroying my life for my entire life ever, because I've always lived in eye shot of the ocean.
I've had this recurring dream where I'm driving on a bridge that's really high in the air, and
Mhm.
that it's going along, and then it's out, and then the car careens off of this bridge towards open water.
Really?
I think it's. I have a pretty, I as a kid was always really scared to go over like the Mackinac Bridge between the two peninsulas of Michigan. It's like 7 miles long over the water or some crazy shit, and it's like hundreds of feet in there. It's absolutely terrifying, and
Mhm.
maybe that has something. I don't know, but that's a dream I've always had.
Why is it so high?
I don't know. Certainly not structurally sound.
Yeah.
Oh, why is the one in real life so high? I don't know. You should see it. It's scary.
Hmm. We should probably talk about some meat or something.
Yeah, that's a meat. I guess we better.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, let's yeah. What do you want to talk about today? We have so many things to talk about. We were discussing safety. We've been discussing a couple of different cuts we want to talk about. We were talking about brining.
Yeah, and I think all of them uh, are great topics. Uh, but I think something that we could talk about if you want to, because we were talking about curing. And then I think we decided that we needed to do a little bit more cursory research, which I know I didn't do, um, because just life at home. But I think we could freely talk about personnel safety and uh, it, like that, and even go into the fact that like we're mass off, right? But I still am getting word of places with personnel testing positive.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and okay, that sounds good. Yeah, let's talk about that. Although I do want to put a cliffhanger out there.
Okay.
Next week, next episode, when we talk about curing,
Hmm.
we're gonna give a secret why you should never use molasses in a cure brine rub. Anyways, yeah, personnel safety and still testing positive in plants. We all saw the USDA lifted their restriction of masks, so
Hmm.
they're going to follow whatever your facility follows, but they're ready to give them up.
Yeah. Uh, and it's I don't know. Like I know like certain I think my friend a pizza tacos plant was doing monitoring every day, temperature monitoring of every employee, and
Mhm.
asking a series of questions, right?
This is Pizza Taco 69,
Yeah, there's Mr. Taco 69. A sweep of questions.
one of our most active listeners.
I know. He's probably like the third host.
Yeah,
Um,
at this point.
uh, and the questions range everywhere from like, how do you like chills, fever, runny nose, etc. Then just over time, the questions turned into, do you have any of these symptoms? Yes or no? Just a sweep. And then it just turned into yes or no. And then was still the temperature monitoring. And then, well, I have this. So, like, what? But other than that, I feel fine. And then the laxation is like, well, you're probably fine. What does he do now?
Yeah.
Like, for example, he has a
So you're
work.
you're saying that they've had this like protocol where the people show up at the plant every day and they ask a series of questions and they have the temperature and over time it's become more lax, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
people are like, some people are getting vaccinated. This new government order saying we don't have to wear masks. So people don't want to wear masks at their works. So he's just wondering, yeah, they're, I don't know. I'm still telling people, like, so, okay, full disclosure. I'm vaccinated. I know it's hard to believe. Uh, and Bill Gates doesn't know where I am most of the time. Um, and he already did because of my phone. But it, I still there's when I go out to like Costco, right? The greeter wasn't wearing a mask. And to me, that's weird. Like, I'm sure you're vaccinated, but also, I don't know. It's just like we're in this weird limbo place. And it's
It's
like,
a
and it's dumb. And like, it's like, there's times where it's like, it's so fucking stupid and politicized. I don't want to wear a fucking mask. I don't think I should, right? But I also don't want to have a confrontation with a pro mask person, then feel like I'm coming off as anti mask or anti vax or any of weird shit because of this narrative that's just being skewed.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose, and you hear people talking about like, oh, well, just carry your Vax card, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because then all of a sudden you got to have a card to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah.
totally hear what you're saying, and to our friend PT69, I think it's kind of the same answer. You can't in that first of all in the plant setting, if it's more and more lax because you don't have the support of your management, or if everyone's willing, if the majority rules and everyone's willing to let go of the program, there's not a whole lot you can do. You can choose like to work somewhere where there's a different kind of culture, or you can continue to wear your mask. And that's the thing is like to your point, I don't want to wear a freaking mask either. And I was outside in Seattle and I was outside. I was in a
Hmm.
park and I didn't wear a mask and it felt good. But when I got close to people, I put it back on and I'm vaccinated. I'm not worried.
Yeah.
But I still put it on because I see other people, I see the look in their eye and they get scared.
Yeah.
It's been traumatic. Like we can't just flip the switch on and off. I have patience for people who are still scared of it. There's still people who are at risk. There's still people who it'll really f them up. I don't mind wearing a mask for a little bit longer. In fact, I was just talking to a friend of the show, Alice, and we were discussing how we like wearing masks because no one can see us scowling at them,
Yeah. I
and it's a cool fashion accessory.
yeah. I like wearing the gaiter if it's loose. Anything that puts pressure on my nose. Now that like we're in this weird, we don't have to have mask mandate or and that I'm vaccinated. When I'm at work, maybe it slips off my nose, and I just don't give a fuck. Um, and like, and when I go out to public, I like to do the thing to make people feel comfortable. Uh, I'm it's certainly never going to be my personality where I'm going to be like, F you, da, 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 my freedom. This is HIPAA violations, blah, 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 blah. Um,
Yes, exactly. Like yes, I
I,
that's the yeah.
I'm more the lines like, yeah, this collectively sucks, but this is just like an inconvenience so we could have normal back, even though things aren't normal. Fuck. We don't even have to talk about PPE. We could just talk about employee wages and how everything's going to shift because of that, because of this coming out of this pandemic. People don't want to work.
I mean, I've been hearing that a lot. Yeah, and just to your point though, yes, like making people comfortable. It's a small price to pay. To me, it's the same thing as like waiting extra long in line to let several elderly people in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, I could go. Fuck yeah, it's my turn. I could go first, but I'm not gonna because I'm not a butthole.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing is like I was at the grocery store where I live. I mean, you know where I live. There's really not a whole lot of different opinions around here. And this guy, like, I had my mask on, and I was the only person in the store with this on. And the guy goes, "You look like a fucking idiot right now. You know that shit doesn't work." And I was just like, "Listen, dude. Here's the thing. I'm not doing this for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't hurt anybody. I'm not hurting you. I'm not calling you out. I'm not telling you you have to wear one. I'm not scared that you're not wearing one because you're probably not vaccinated, but I am, and I am wearing one, and I feel good about those odds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not encroaching on your space at all. I'm not preaching anything. I'm not telling your kids to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Let me be. But okay. Anyways, I have been hearing that a lot from people. That exact phrase. People don't want to work. Let's unpack that a little bit, can we?
Yes. And delicately, because like it's like, my whole thing, and like coming from a couple quote unquote liberal Fruit Loops.
Yeah. I told Travis you said that, John. I told him, and we had a good laugh, and we appreciated
it. And I'm not liberal. I just love freedom, and my freedom involves yeah, usually I don't know.
My freedom involves a golden rule. If I was down and out, or if something happened to me, I would hope that the people around me would help me instead
Yeah.
of just saying let them rot. You know what I mean? That's what my freedom looks like.
Yeah. Well, it's like the same thing. It's like you could really judge a person if you see like if you if like if you're ever in this imaginary scenario I'm about to say, which you won't be. Um, but let's say you're on a date or out with a friend and you drive by Skid Row, and if their reaction isn't a place of like humanity and like seeing suffering, and their reaction is ew, then fuck that person.
Yeah. Yep. We're not. Get out of my car. We're not friends.
Yeah. Uh, Interesting side note, because there's a bridge in my community that it has houseless people living at it. They have an arrangement with the bikini barista right next to the bridge that
I'm listening.
that they get Amazon delivery sent there, and then the one like at noon or something, the bikini barista yells down people's names whose packages showed up.
That's awesome. I mean, and I I really love that you brought that up because there's a spectrum of houselessness,
Mm-hmm.
especially where you live, or in the area between where you and I live, where you have these just. Well, sometimes I really get on a tangent. There's these companies that they just don't care about what they do to communities, and
Mm-hmm.
the cost of living in the area tripled, if not quadrupled,
Yeah.
over the last. And if you're a service industry worker and you're pulling in $40,000 a year living in like a blue collar neighborhood, and then it gentrifies and a $750 a month for a studio apartment goes up to $3,000 a month, and you don't have the means to move to a new town, that you can actually be put on the street that way.
Yeah.
You can, if you don't have or friends, or if everybody knows in the same boat, you can actually be living out of your car even though you're making $40,000 to $60,000 a year if you're in a place that gentrifies super duper quickly. I've seen it happen. It's almost happened to me. I went from having a decent place to live in the Midwest. I moved to Seattle. There was a huge housing boom, and I qualified for low-income housing working 2 jobs, and the project housing was $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's crazy. Like a large, even working with I worked with a company and they weren't big. They're, all employees I could count on 2 hands, right? But we were boosting product and production, and when it came to compensation adjustment meetings, I I simply brought up just keeping up with the cost of inflation, and my boss felt like I just, you know, uh, uh like made up some stuff and was talking like a crazy person, or got real defensive, like I was accusing him of something, when he's like, there actually hasn't been inflation in like 5 years. you know the dollar is the same as it was. And me being like, that may be the case, but I could tell you that my mortgage, they just, like, as much as the dollar may be the same, they just decide to raise it whenever the fuck they want. And
This is our friend with the golden toe.
uh who's that? No, 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 no. In between them and now.
Yeah.
And it's just
Oh.
like same with my water bill. It's like they just decide it's more now. So what I'm trying to say is those services that I pay for, like the service you pay me to work here, is now going to change. Otherwise, I will go and present my services someplace else.
I am so super glad that you brought this up, because I've been wanting to say this. And you and I have said this on the show before, but we never made a huge point of it. And it's been coming up lately, and I've been seeing it posted places, and it's just a phrase. And I want to put it out there. I want to, and I like really stand behind this. Okay? If you own a company and cannot afford to pay your team 2021 living wages, so that rent is, as the government prescribes, 25 to 30% of your total overall income, looking at the rent market for your area, if you cannot afford to pay your crew those wages, then you deserve to go out of business. You don't have to agree with me. I'm just putting myself out there. But you do not have a profitable business if you are not paying living wages.
Yeah. Well, it's like the whole idea of like investing in your employees, right? If you invest in your employees, then they're going to want to stay around. They're going to want to do that and work with you. The place I worked at, and we had 80% overturn in a week. It was because of this battle of just everyone in the midst of the pandemic being like, do you know what, dude? This sucks. And you're not meeting me anywhere. We
Right.
are watching 1,000% more production leave the door, and you won't even give us the equivalent of a case of sausage or a week raise.
Nope. Yeah. Unbelievable. Yep. That's not right, because those people got richer and nobody saw any benefit. I can attest to that.
Yeah.
We had a question. We had a question from somebody where we put out some feelers for some answers, and we had somebody who mentioned that they worked for a company that was not profitable. They were constantly having issues making ends meet, getting cash infusions. Yet the C-suite level, like the CEO is making $500,000 plus a year. The president was making 350 plus a year. All these people in that level were, 150 plus thousand a year, and yet they were hiring people off the street during a pandemic for minimum freaking wage, even if they had experience.
Yeah. It's so surprising the cost of certain things and certain tangible things. It's like the physical work versus what people would view as white collar or office work, and it, it in the value where it's like everyone went from being, you guys are the best, hero bonuses, essential workers, to now like, get back to work.
Yep.
You know, I I don't know. It's and what I'm saying is, it's not politicized. Just imagine like you realizing that you people are like, well, these people don't want to get back to work because they make more on unemployment. Then that means something's broken, and it's
Yes.
not unemployment.
Yes. Yes. If adding $300 to an unemployment paycheck keeps people home, $300. If that keeps people at home, then you are not taking care of them.
Yeah. And I just want to caveat right now. These, what I'm talking about, is not going to benefit me at all. Like, my wife has a great job. I am successful in my career and successful with other avenues in the industry. So it's not like, I don't know, like, I do everything I can to not be like, it was hard for me, so it should be hard for them. It's like, one, it wasn't that hard for me. Um, I was lucky and privileged and had a wife that drove me hard and hard and harder. Uh, and that's how I have the perceived perception of success. It comes with a lot of headaches. It comes with like, and I don't want to complain about, my life, but I still, I 10 years ago, people always ask me this. I'm gonna be frank. Oh, how long you been in the industry? How long you been in the industry? How people want it to, I want it to sound longer. I want it to be like, I started cutting when I was a child. Not true at all.
Yeah, I've been cutting since I was 3.
Yeah. My mom actually swallowed a fucking knife and I cut myself out. But I've been cutting meat for 10 years. My first job in the industry, I was making $10 an hour in Vermont, which was good money.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, that back in like 2010, and before that, I was making $21 an hour as a construction worker in Santa Barbara, which is terrible money. Do you know why? Because the cost of living.
The cost of living.
Yeah. And then like, yeah, it's, I don't say these things that people always want to have the like how did you make it, this come up story, the success story, this one man, da 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 da. But it's not that. It's a lot of people's help, right? It's the fact that you have a good network of people, that be it family, be it friends, or personal relationships, that help you get to where you are. And I was lucky enough that I had enough of those to get me to the life I have now. And every day, I worry about losing it, and every day I am also surprised that I have it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that network can take a lot of forms,
Mm.
I didn't really have a lot of friends when I got into this because I had been a shitty person for several years in a row and was like totally isolated, but I had some really great mentors for no reason. Totally lucky. Like I just had people that pushed me super hard and were great teachers. If I hadn't had those teachers, I wouldn't have half the skills I have today. I've learned how to teach from great teachers because I was a bad student. I've got some things about me that make learning difficult sometimes, and yeah, without people who like selflessly took interest in my development, I would have absolutely nothing. Probably would be at the bottom of the sound right now.
Yeah.
But
so what's you have, you're a mid-size owner, David, or a small, let's say you're a small owner to mid-size.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing. It's like I'm experiencing it right now. It's hard to get people to work in this industry, but yet every fucking message we get online is people saying they want to work in this industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's weird. We do see both of that every single day. And, was your question, what's the advice for small business owners?
Yeah. Because people are going to be listening to this and be like, well, that's really harsh. I could only afford what I could afford, and I don't want to go under. But what can we say that's not just pointing out criticism, but could help solve the problem?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. I'm just going to rattle off a couple of things off the top of my head because I have a lot to say here, but need to put it in a container so we don't, how I like to get on tangents.
Yeah.
Everyone does. So, I think the first thing is like figuring out what do you need as a small business owner? Like when you and I have discussed some of the things that we're working on, one of the very first things that we said was how much money does it take for you to live how you need to live? How do you take care of yourself? How do you put a little away for retirement? How do you pay your bills and live your lifestyle? We have two very different answers because we have two very different lifestyles. You have a family. You live in a different region.
Mm-hmm.
For many different things. Our numbers are different. But we talked about that. How much do we need to make? And then we figured out, okay, this is what it's going to cost for us to do what we need to do. And this is at this point, we're going to be able to hire someone else to work with us. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't do. They don't say, how much money do I need? They say, how big can it get and how can we scale it? And I want us to have another episode on this pretty soon, but I want to throw this. Here's another bomb I want to drop. Vertical integration is a freaking myth.
Yeah.
It's not the way that the Zarling story is being told. Oh, I can do everything and I can be an expert at it and I can have total control of quality. If you try to do everything, you're going to have total control of crappy quality. Putting together experts, integrating them, creating win-win partnerships, looking at trade-offs. That's the type of vertical integration that works, almost like a cooperative model in a sense.
Yeah. Well, I view it as me and you have struggled with the idea of being the best that we possibly can and knowing the most we possibly can know in this industry. And about a year ago, I just realized that I'm okay not knowing everything.
Yeah. I mean, yes, exactly. That's a great point. A few months ago, this is before we got into season 2 and we were trying to figure out what was going on. I was going to start a second podcast that was like just me, which would have been boring as shit. But anyways, I was going to start a second podcast and start consulting, and I wanted to do everything. And I realized that I was going to be crappy at most of it because I didn't have time to be an expert at those things.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when, that was when you and I started talking. We were like, oh, well, we both want to do this. You are good at so many things that I'm not good at, right? And I have interests that don't interest you, as much as they do. Like that's the type of integration that works when you have two things that function separately well.
Yeah, and one thing that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, sorry. Jeez. I was going to say one thing that's good about us doing projects together and working together is I have no problem being like, dude, I don't fucking know. Like, like we don't ask each other, we don't set each other up, we don't do loaded questions. We're done with the bullshit machismo stuff. It's just like, hey, do you know this? No, either do I. Let's find this out together. Or do you know this? Yes, awesome. What's the answer?
Yeah, that's yeah. I appreciate that too. I almost got us on a tangent there, but back to the advice for the small business owners. Do you have a pro forma operating budget? Do you have an operating budget for your company? Do you get your cogs in line? Do you get all your expenses in there? Do you have a cash flow statement? Do you have a monthly profit and loss statement? You know, what I suggest, this is something that I do, something that we do for people. A friend of mine who is a financial whiz put this together. It's an operating budget that has variable values that you can enter, right? So it's like for a small cut and wrap, the things that you can change in it are like the price per pound, your fee schedule, your head count for labor, your cogs. You can change all these things and see how it shakes out. So it's like figure out how much money you need to make to be comfortable. Then plug in your labor for what living wages look like and how many people you need to do the work, and then figure out how to make ends meet. Put the money in first, and then figure out your fee schedule or your costs. Figure out what the market will bear, and if your price is just too high, then that's the work. That's the lean work. That's what you and I do. We go into places and we figure out, okay, your cogs are too high. You can't do with any less labor. Your fees are what the market will bear already. We got to do some work to make this more efficient. And that's the work. It's not scaling bigger and bigger and bigger. It's meeting your financial freaking targets and then doing the creative work to make the system work.
Mm-hmm.
That's my advice. Scaling, mo money, mo problems. Scaling does not solve the issue of an unfavorable balance sheet.
Yeah. I don't know.
And there's a lot of companies out there that
there's a lot of companies what?
think that does solve the problem. Process more and more and more and more and more. Well, if you don't sell 100% of what you process, sorry, friend, ain't going to happen.
Yeah. And how many freezers of unsold product have we had to deal with because of this idea that like we do everything. We can't sell everything. What are you going to do with all these bones? We're 100% regenerable, like we sustainable. It's like, yeah, just because you're sitting on old sold product, that ain't sustainable. You're paying those electric bills for nothing.
Yeah, you're paying. Yeah, the most expensive air in the world, and the rendering fee. Things age out over a year, you pay for it. You pay to get rid of it. I think that's all I can say without a lawyer being present.
I don't know. I don't think Canaans are going to come after you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They don't even listen to the podcast.
I don't know. Well, a friend of the show's who when we did the jealousy and envy episode, reached out to me saying he's a butcher in LA, oddly enough, saying I'll listen to the show thinking you were going to talk about me, and you did. And I was like, of course you did, because you're MP. So that's what I imagine those people are doing, is they're just listening, thinking we're going to talk about them.
Yeah.
One day they'll say it.
Yeah, someday.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I think there's some interesting things. The people don't want to work thing. I'm not buying it. I think that there's a lot that's going to happen. I think we're going to learn a lot about small business. I think that we as a society are not very good at small business. And the reason I say that is because most small businesses have this goal of like scaling. So let me just give it. let me give you this scenario.
Okay.
I'm working with this person. They're a butcher shop, right? A retail shop.
Mhm.
And they do some wholesale sales. And I'm talking to the owner, and he's like, hey, we want to take this concept and scale it, baby. We want to take this thing. We want to have partner farms. We want to control the procurement of the supply chain. Then we want to open up other locations so we can get more honest food to more people. And then we're gonna bring it regional, man. We're gonna take this the whole region, and then we're gonna get partner farms all around the country, and we're gonna be a national brand. And I was like, okay, so you wanna, so you're looking to be Tyson, Purdue? No, 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 no. A national presence, a brand that keeps our exact values right now. You can't do it.
You're never going to do it. And if you did get anywhere near that, then you're just going to be bought out by one of the bigger guys, Bandit Hills. But
So let's get real with this shit again. What's the real goal here? Are you dressing up a good old fashioned capitalism with a cute story and a bonnet? Like, come on.
yeah, it's I don't. And is it a successful model, or do these companies just do this to get bought out? Because so many times have we heard about like I've been had the oil of a, or someone tried to sell me the oil of a snake about a place in Eastern Washington, like total vertical integration, blah 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 blah, da, 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 da. And it's just like, oh man, that sounds great. Oh, cool. Da, da, da. And it's like, well, is that sustainable in like 10 years? Is it like,
Yeah, and why are we so obsessed as a culture with someone making everything from start to finish? Have you ever seen somebody make something from start to finish?
no? Well,
No, because
a baby.
people are crap. Yeah, well, yeah, but even that you have help,
Yeah.
right? Like, coaches and stuff. Like, yeah, you can't be good at every single thing. You can be good at a couple of things and get super good at it. But that's the thing. And actually, by not being vertically integrated and investing in partners in your community that are already experts, you are shoring up your local economy. You're adding jobs.
Mhm.
You're credit where credit is due. You're trusting the experts. Like, if you don't like what the local processing plant can do, have you tried sitting down with them and saying, hey, I'm going to invest half as much in your business as I would in my own if I was building a brick and mortar? So if I was to do that, do you think that you could make this thing that I want you to make? Or instead of me building my own value-added facility, would you be interested in co-investing with me and 5 other producers that want to have these 5 products that we can't get made anywhere else? It's like,
Yeah, but people, I think the Dunning-Kruger effect is more common than we absolutely know. I think that, um,
remind us.
yeah, that there's nothing that these companies, you see it all the time with consulting, you see it all the time with someone coming in with big energy. They don't know the things they don't know. You know, I want to do this many birds. I want to do this. I have this dream. I have this, and I just need you to do what I actually do not know, which is cut meat and train the people to cut meat, because I can't fake that.
Yeah, I have literally no idea, and no one on my team has any experience. I need you to do it all for me, start to finish.
Yeah. And then when you tell me it's a bad idea or this won't work, that's when I'm the expert now.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were the expert. You're saying it's not going to work? Figure it out, expert. I actually have never had a relationship with a consulting turn into like some weird bullying like I'm in high school, but that's the vibe it is.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I worked I worked with a great manufacturing genius one time from the East Coast who's now I think the president of a gun manufacturer, but this fellow was just a total game changer. And he had that kind of, like, he was from Boston, he had that Boston attitude, kind of accent, and could tear you down pretty quick.
Yeah.
It, like, the best way too, because the accent just made it felt special.
Yeah. Oh, I loved living in Vermont and would hear the crazy New England accents from all over. I don't know how to describe it. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Hearing wicked.
Yeah. Well, to our friends that are off work right now, now's a great. I don't know. Now's a great time to be creative. If you are off work, and you're waiting for something, I don't know. Can you do you want to be self-employed? If not, what kind of position do you want to have? Do you want to get into management? Do you want just a higher paying butcher job? Do you have questions about where to go? Reach out to us. We can help you, maybe.
Yeah.
Point you in the right. I mean, like Travis said, we get people that want to know how to get in the industry all the time, and we know all these people that say that they can't staff.
It's true. And if you're like a smaller shop and you're having or a shop or a brand that wants to have even like a better social media presence, we could offer advice on that, you know.
Yeah, you're
But
good at that stuff.
yeah, the best way to get a hold of us, honestly, Meat Block Podcast Instagram, DM us. We will answer, and we always sign off who you're talking to. It's not going to be like you're talking to a void. You're literally going to be talking to David or myself, and then we'll talk crap about you behind your back. No, then we'll just figure out amongst ourselves the best way to approach your situation. If it is, a social media, or if it's the plant management, or if it's facility design or something like that, just message us, the Meat Block Podcast on Instagram.
Yeah, that's the best way.
Because
Well,
I don't check my email that often.
yeah, me either. And I have like 5 of them.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of whittle that down a little bit. But I still get like Kazaa and like Napster emails and stuff on my old one. I gotta get rid of that shit. Although I gotta say that the older the email account, the more delicious the spam folder is.
Really?
Really good stuff. I have roughly 15 to 20 princes from various third world countries who want to give me all of their money per week. It's incredible.
Do you want to know? All right, we'll end on this. Do you know what information is still out on the internet, just living? I discovered this. I went to livejournal.com.
Ooh, live journal.
I typed in my username, stars burn and die, my high school password, which still worked. And it still all is there. All my teen angst, all my depression, all my jokes that I thought were funny that weren't.
Wow. I wonder if my Metallica fan page is still up in GeoCities.
GeoCities, I think, got scrubbed because about 10 years ago, I tried to look up something on GeoCities that I was like, what? This isn't here anymore?
Damn it. I had this sick photo where you'd hover your mouse over a picture of an album.
Yeah.
And if you waited 4 to 10 seconds because it was all HTML5, it would change into another photo.
Do you ever hear the melodic hardcore band Himsa?
Mm-mm.
They had a web page, and their homepage was probably 100 of the most graphic images, right? Just thumbnails. Like, and you had to click and just get lucky on which one would take you past that homepage to an actual menu.
The wild days of the internet were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Reading conspiracy theories on green text on black backgrounds.
Anarchist Cookbook?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was in an AOL gang.
guys are pretty tough.
Yeah, we would like kick people off.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, remember the away message on AM? You
Sick.
had to write the perfect away message. Do you
Mhm.
get this shit? Do you remember? Uh, uh, the, so on AM, you could change your font and you could change your color. So you could
Mhm.
write in your away message or in your like little snippet about yourself. You read like something that only someone had to highlight to read it,
Oh, dang.
and
Mom
like
and dad see that.
yeah, but like it'd be something and be like, "I love you, high school girlfriend," who's like
What?
who's the editor of like the #1 vegan magazine in America.
Wow. I I remember being 10 and going into AOL chat rooms and thinking that I was talking with other. Well, I said, of course, I was like, oh, I'm 16, male,
Hmm.
Detroit,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh, I'm a 16-year-old female from blah blah blah, and like they were all older men. Let's
At
be
least it wasn't
honest.
Chris Hansen,
Who's that?
the catch a predator guy.
Oh, yeah. I was like reversed. I was like a 10-year-old that was playing with fire.
Yeah.
I went to teen chat, and God, can you imagine how many perverts were just lurking back then?
Yeah. Like early millennial internet's awesome. Of
Yeah.
just like being like cut left, let loose. First bourgeois bourgeois photo I ever saw was a photoshopped image of Peggy Bundy. And I was like, what? This chick does this too.
You know what? You know what mine was? The first
What?
one I saw. I remember clear as day. Scully.
Really?
Poorly photoshopped nude celebrity photos. That was the stuff of dreams for a for pre-teenagers back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scully.
David, we need to have a meat block slumber party and
Yeah.
go play flashlight tag and I don't know. I
Get
feel
out the
like
year.
they're get out our yearbook, talk about cute girls. Uh,
Mhm.
I feel like there's an experience there that we could sell, like a specific '90s camp or something that we could sell there. I would rather do that than cut meat.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because
We can all sit around and gushers.
yeah, because it's easier to capitalize on nostalgia because people always think shit was better.
Yeah. It wasn't though.
No, it was the exact same and probably worse. Um, all right. Until next time,
Keep your knife sharp.
and live in the margin.